We in here to talk about that Game of Thrones greatness. Let's go. Season 6, episode 7. Yes, 7, 7, 11. Let's go. Probably about 3 more episodes. Probably 3 more episodes, exactly. Left in this season, because Game of Thrones usually 6 to 10 episodes a season. Now, this video is being recorded on Tuesday. Saw the episode yesterday. Okay? Monday. Probably won't be uploaded till the weekend because I got work like hell. Look, you got these adult responsibilities. Alright? Gotta love it, man. Gotta love it. Okay? Brother gotta eat, right? So we in here. Hey, if YouTube could pay me, that'd be cool too. That'd be cool too. Regardless, we're still coming off of, some can say the highs of last week. I would say the highs were the episodes 4 and 5. But we're coming off some very wide, some very big and significant material last week in episode 6. Now, the thing is, even though I didn't give it a really quote-unquote high review as far as the rating goes, I did give it a fairly high, I think at 8.5. So that's a fairly high, you could say. It's reasonably high. I didn't, it wasn't astronomical. It's because of the plot progression slow. Now, here's the thing. We have a quite different effect this week, right? You have a lot of subtleties in this week's chapter, but the plot progression, thank you. And I will say this. Y'all know, if you know anything about my channel, you know me personally, you've heard me discuss Game of Thrones and just my favorite characters. Tyrion Lannister is my 4th favorite character of all time in fiction history. Daenerys Stormborn is my woman. Tyrion's my dude. That's my Tyrion. For so many reasons. Daenerys Stormborn, aka or slash Daenerys Targaryen. That's my woman. My favorite female character in all fiction history. 2nd favorite in the series. I am so glad that neither of them and the whole Marine outfit, none of that was in this episode. Thank you. Why am I actually grateful that wasn't in there? Because it wouldn't have been relevant at this time. There would have been no plot progression. It would have been a bunch of pretty much filler. Or, if they would have did a scene like what they did with Daenerys, a couple minutes here, I wouldn't mind that. Other than more than a couple minutes, no. It'd be pointless at this point. So thank you. I love the characters. Varys the Spider, he puts in work. All that whole deal, and all that's great for later. We know that's going to be an important plot point later down the line. But now it's not that. We get introduced in confirmation again about some vitally important stuff to the plot. Who to start with? I guess I should start with, because it began and was important in this episode and ended the episode, and it will be very vitally important in the season. The beginning, that whole scene was beautiful. It was magnificently beautiful. I'm like, what the hell's going on? The whole building, first of all, it sets up the kind of, it sets up an era, sets up an atmosphere that we rarely see in Game of Thrones. A very happy, blissful, cheerful. It sets up with the common folk. It set, the tools and things of that nature, of foods they might eat. It gave us a lot of cultural perspective. Okay, and this is, I believe, in the Riverlands. We're often in the cold of the north, or we're often in this, the glamorous nature of King's Landing. We're in big cities like Bravos and Marine. Okay, we don't often get to see the kind of peasant commoner, yeoman type life. So this was, I thought, very vital to the series, and it brings forth more character. We also get a confirmation with Gravedigger, the quote-unquote Gravedigger theory. Shout out to Alt Shift X for introducing me to that, and a lot of book fans. And the Gravedigger theory has to do with Sander Clay. I can never say his last name. Nothing. But the Hound. Yes, the Hound is definitely back and alive. there's indications in the book. We're definitely now this is complete deviation from the books at this point. It was already past the books. Now it's complete deviation. But the whole thing and about where does he lie? He's trying to repent. He's trying to get over his sins of the past. He did have sins, but some of the things were questionable. And he talks about being bested by Brienne. Speaking of which, a video on her will be coming up soon. I'm going to begin doing parallels of Game of Thrones characters, so be on the lookout for that. He talks about being beat by a woman, which is, it could be comical, and if you're not understanding, it could be taken in a different fashion. But anyways, Brienne is special. Now, I'm not sure she beat him in the books, but regardless, it is what it is. His whole thing about, he still has that need to protect. He still has that knightly part. He was a fallen knight, but this is a redemptive story. You can see throughout this whole episode, and the Brotherhood without banners. Now, this also ties in the whole, theory about Lady Stoneheart, or how she is in the books. Will that be introduced into the show? And it's talking about Cat Stark being back, and y'all know I can't stand Cat Stark, but being brought back as Lady Stoneheart, because the Brotherhood without banners were honorable, and now if these are the dudes that are the Brotherhood, this isn't honorable. So it'll be interesting to see if the creators of the show want to appease fans and whatnot. Be great to see, really great to see. Different side of Cat Stark, and hopefully if Lady Stoneheart is introduced in the series, she's a much better character and a much better actor. Oh, jeez. But anyways, we continue. The Hound, is he going to become an Avenger? And will this lead to the whole thing of him fighting? I don't know how in the world it will lead to him being a protector of the faith. Don't know. But there's also some very important, remember I talked about philosophy, okay, in the last few reviews, right? This was vitally important, because the guys, like, I don't know, maybe the seven, maybe the old gods, maybe the new, maybe the drowned god, maybe the faceless god, maybe the great mother, whatever. He's like, it doesn't matter, we can change, okay? Not a leopard, not changing the spots, but humans have the ability, we're living, we have the ability to change. And he's like, yo, Hound, you've already been punished, you just don't recognize it. The guilt you have, is pointless. Start doing things with your life to better, the world around you. Yes, you've done all these horrible deeds, so have I, so have all of us. Some of us just worse than others. So just do what you can. Do with the the gifts and talents the gods or whatever it may be has blessed you. So there is that. He answered like a scepter, talking about peace, and here we see the Hound sensed it. It was like, no, we gotta protect the people, and now this comes upon him, and I think that we're gonna see a massive metamorphosis. And will the Hound become one of the most important characters in the series? It's very likely. Will he become a main character? Possibly. It's very interesting to see. Just like with Jorah the Andal, we're getting to see, this side story. It's going to be fascinating. It's going to be a very well constructed one because of the way they are presented it. And the whole thing about, regardless of what truly is. And he didn't just say that, just on some new age stuff. No, he's saying he doesn't know. He's willing to, he's open-minded. That was cool. That was really good. A really great perspective. I hope they continue to push forth a bunch of philosophies. And before I forget, and I keep saying in this, where the hell's the Iron Bank? It better show up. It better show up, whether it be at the end of the season or next season. We need the Iron Bank to show up and show out. Just keep throwing that out there for the people. Now, moving on. I guess I'll hit up Jon Snow, Sansa Stark, or Sansa Lana stuff. Forget, shoot, they remind me of the marriage. That's been, forget which season that was. Sansa Bolton. Okay, Sansa, the whole thing, man. Sansa, number one, she once again, she clearly is not a warrior, so she doesn't know. Jon's like, yo, we gotta rock with the troops that we have. Now, at first I thought, because she mentioned another house, and I'm thinking, is she gonna send it there? But no, she's sending them to Full Living. I know that's not how it started off, but I thought I better start there. It just shows the difference. Jon's been around, Jon's been experienced. Sansa's still not understanding. But now she's got to swallow her pride and now send the Raven to Littlefinger with the Knights of the Vale. They're going to play a big role in this whole conflict. And honestly, 5,000 troops isn't a whole lot. It really isn't the whole thing. But considering the fact of the devastation of the past wars, as well as considering the fact that the houses, we're not dealing with a bunch of major campaigns, but a bunch of minor houses for the most part. And House Stark is, in shambles. You have that situation. Now, House Marmon, I think it was, off the Bear Islands. I mean, you have this child now. Mind you, she was mature in this. I gotta give her that. As she went on, at first I was like, but then as she went on, gotta give her that. She's thinking about honor and stuff. But 62, hey, every little bit helps, and every man counts. But at the same time, she's like, they're proud, and I hope they put in that work. But also, I think I saw her in an encampment. What is she doing near the battlefield or in a camp for the battlefield? Don't understand that. I get that she's the lord or lady of the house, but she's a child. Come on now. And she's probably the last or, the best blood heir, so I don't understand that. Anyways, that whole thing, and we see the two sides. I think there's a couple other houses. I forget if I'm not sure they went to talk to them or not. But we saw a house gully, and then that whole thing, and then the whole disrespect to wildlings, free folk. And we get more of that, and it's kind of goes along with Sam's pops and his nonsense. So we keep seeing that as a thing in the north. The view and the bias, the prejudice of the wildlings. But also, I gotta give it up to Sir Davos coming in the clutch. When young lady would not listen to Sansa, she's like, she doesn't respect her, she doesn't know where her loyalty's like. I'm still a Stark. She's like, okay, yeah, I don't. And you're Jon Snow, you don't have a blood, you're not fully blooded. So people think that's not fair, but that's the world they live in. That's the system. But Sir Davos coming up from the bottom, started from the bottom, and being honest, and being someone who is with Stannis Baratheon, and the whole he's a triple OG at this point. That was very well, and we get to see more of Davos, which is very good to see growth and with characterization as well as character development. Also, talking about the free folk, okay? Honor, principles, courage, word of, our word is our bond. I love that whole thing, and we see the leaders and Tokyo and Jon and Sansa being outside and knowing what the hell she's talking about, seriously. Jon, and then do they trust Jon? And that whole thing about, we're not clever like y'all. Southerners, we keep our word. I love the fact when that giant moved, that was, hey, he is sad, really, and he said snow. Yo, when the giant moved, yeah, hey. Yes, I do vibe with some minor characters from time to time. Dude, the giant's my dude, man. I know I'd rock with the giant, for real. So that was great to see. Sometimes it's the non-verbal that speaks the loudest. Also, let's see, which, because I think I'll probably save Yara and that whole situation with Theon for last. What else? So we got Arya, Yara, Theon, Jaime Lannister, my dog Jaime. This is why Jaime's my dude, man. That threats, it kind of goes back to, well, actually, Tyrion talking about the Tyrion and Jaime showcase to be very similar in so many ways. First of all, the Cell Swordsman with both brothers, and yo, this dude's a character and a half, man. Great side character, I must say. Truly great side character. It's promising. He's got yet another entanglement with the brother's like, please don't say, Lannister always pays his debts. That dude was funny, man. Anyway, he's on another craziness with Jamie, and I was confused last week's episode, but they're going after Blackfish. Okay, apparently Blackfish owns, it was his hereditary home, but it's been given to Lord Walter Frey, and Jamie been tasked by King Tom Baratheon, really Lannister, to take back the castle, to take over the castle, and they're trying to do a siege, and these two youngsters, oh my gosh, they're clueless. They're clueless about warfare. Now, here's a guy that's been at war, or has been, a part of various conflicts since he's been doing this probably as long as they've been alive. Okay, I mentioned Jamie been King's on since he was 15. This dude, by this point, is probably in his early 40s, especially given the age of his children. And so, when you take that into consideration, or at least late 30s, they may be, not young, but I mean, come on. And this dude knows what the hell he's talking about. Now, the Blackfish is first of all, that was ballsy, and I liked what he did with his son. Didn't kill him. Like, he called the bluff so badly, man. He called it so badly. But I'll also say, he's massively underestimated Jamie. Massively underestimated. And that will be his downfall. And there's talk of, Walter Frey gonna get his, which he likely will, and I'm gonna be really glad about that. Jamie, showing honor once again. He's more honorable than Ned Stark, and cleaning up the young man and whatnot. Clean up there. That whole thing with Jamie was really good on his character, and it just shows his consistent character development, which is one of the best in the series, bar none. Now, to Cersei Lannister, and I keep seeing it, I can't wait. Bloodbath is coming. The massacres are coming with Robert Strong, aka the Mountain. The other, Gregor Claiborne. I can't say the name for nothing. The Hound's brother. Okay. Is the Mountain's older, isn't he? I think the Mountain's older, if I recall. But anyways, Cersei, her talk with Lady Tyrell, okay? And Lady Tyrell Lady Tyrell's a triple OG. This is the one mistake. Just like Daenerys made the one mistake with letting Jorah Lionel go, okay? This is her mistake. She screwed up. She screwed up. And I understand they have beef from the past. I understand that Cersei did some dumb. She pulled off some BS. But this isn't the time to divide. That's what that's what the High Septon wants. And now, I will talk about Marjorie in a second. But Cersei continues to develop, and she continues. It's like you can clearly see a difference. She says she's being, oh no, you don't back the best players into the cup. She gonna come out swinging, man. Cersei is getting primed up for the comeback, like a 44, and I'm loving it. Now, that whole thing, Lady Marjorie, the Queen Marjorie, and she's trying to protect House Tyrell. She clearly is still allied, still loyal to House Tyrell. This is very obvious by the note that she gave her grandma. Grandma was like, no, I don't want to go, I don't want to leave. She's like, look, I'm pretty much trying to tell him, I'm trying to protect my younger brother. I'm trying to, protect you. I'm trying to get, I'm fooling the whole thing. I think she has changed. She is speaking the truth, but at the same time, she's being protected. The High Septon's being manipulative as hell, okay? Not in a charismatic manner. He's manipulating the mind. So it'll be very interesting to see what happens. I think there's going to be bloodshed. I think he's going to die. I think lot of the fake, the guards are gonna get body bagged. I really do. Now let's see. Lady Margaret did her thing. All right, let's hit up Arya Stark. Okay, Arya. First of all, I gotta give it to the wife. Okay. Assassin's Creed style. Thank you. These are supposed to be master assassins. She did that thing. Came in as a faceless, as an old woman, and boom, took off the man and from behind, on some freaking Et tu Brute, Julius Caesar. We got stabbed at Cassius Brutus and everybody. Okay, straight up. Now Arya Stark came in with the plays. Okay, she gave it the plays and she did an evasive maneuver and get the hell out of Dodge. She did that whole thing about showing the case of the money stuff. But this just shows she's inexperienced, right? Why the hell would you be on a public bridge, not into daydreaming, when you just betrayed, when you just left this cult? Okay, that's what it is. You can call it what it is. Faceless Men are a cult of assassins. Come on now. An order or cult of assassins? Come on. That's stupid. That's just stupid. But you can show she's young. She's still naive to a degree. And, yeah, she's still holding on to her principles, but come on now. And she's bleeding out, and no one's helping her. She's in a foreign land. This is what I'm talking about. Like, all right, come on now. But she was able to get away. Now, there are 3 paths in which this can currently take. A, number 1, Arya dies, which is very unlikely by the ending of the episode. 2, B, the Faceless Man come after her again, whether it be the waif or any one of the Faceless Men, or one of the 9, okay? Or 3, she gets help, she survives. Now, amongst that survival, she can still go off the Westeros, but let's say the Faceless Man can still follow and come after her. Like, you gotta make sure. B, she can, she can fight back. Maybe she trains under somebody, she trains under another master. Maybe she hones her own skill. And you can say, well, how the hell is she gonna be master assassins? Look, everyone has a weakness. That is, every mortal, anyone is not omnipotent, has a weakness. You just have to learn and exploit it. You have to learn your enemies. And maybe she'll succumb to her darkness, or maybe she'll embrace it. Because remember what she said, I think it was in season 1 back in King's Landing, the only god is death. There's a possibility, because she is a warg, at least in the books, similar or different than her brother Bronn, the old gods. Maybe she embraces both the old gods and the faceless god. Maybe she didn't accept becoming a blind faith. Maybe there's another path with the faceless god. It's just that the faceless men the many-faced god, the faceless god. The many-faced god, it's just the faceless men, they've gone a very dark and sinister route. It'll be very, very interesting to see. And last but not least, very important with Yara, okay, Asha in the books. Yara, that whole scene, number 1, I have to call out, she does still have femininity to her, but she showcased a lot of masculinity. And it showcases that she's grown up with a lot of men. We don't know the Iron Islands, okay, too well. We don't know its culture too well. And we don't know if, we've only seen 1 or 2 other women, and we don't know if, they raised the women to be more, you could say, quote-unquote, masculine or accepting of masculine qualities, if that's favored. Just culturally. She talked to Theon, her little brother, like an older brother, mainly. She does have compassion. She looked at him, big sis, but talked to him like an older brother. Seriously. And it gave him courage, and she's like, look, you're broken. I need you, bro. Like, I really need you. But I can't have you being more or less, really, a bitch. That's, seriously, that's what she's saying. I need you to be a man. I understand you went through hell. And I may not fully understand it and comprehend, but I know you've been through hell. But you got to get your head on it, man. And that whole drinking thing, that may have not been the best, because like, you don't have to be your old self, but you're still Theon. Yeah, that always gone. But you are Theon Greyjoy. Remember who you are on some Mufasa status, the symbol. okay, from Lion King. And so that whole thing. Now, the reason I remark, now, is she a lesbian? I'm not sure if she's a lesbian. Is she bi? I'm not sure. I'm not sure of sexuality. People are like, oh, why does your sexuality matter? It matters for a lot of reasons. We know in King's Landing, at least, that homosexuality is not, at least openly acceptable by the lords and ladies. We see that with Sir Lawrence and his treatment. And, as far as extramarital, that's questionable. In the Iron Islands, we don't know how it gets down. Is it that those dudes are like, yo, she's one of us because, she's with it, doing similar activities to us? She has similar interests, similar likes? I don't know. She clearly is experienced. Even her phraseology, if you listen, fuck the shit out of this one, more or less. An ass like that, we don't, have that back in the islands. It was very, what you would hear, I'm not saying it's masculine, but it's where you would hear men talk. So it's like, she's not, I'm not gonna say she's not ladylike, but you can see the influence, the masculine influence around her. That's vitally important to understand. And I also remember the reason I say, I don't think she's lesbian. I remember the whole thing with her brother when he fingered her on the horse and whatnot. And so it's very interesting. It's very interesting, and it showcases more so. This seemingly, it's not just Theon, but it's the seeming whole thing with Iron. It's this full-blown sexuality, like overly expressive sexuality on a forceful manner. We saw that with the chick who Theon was like the servant chick way back in like season 1 or season 2. So I thought that was very interesting. Yes, it's a long review, but there was a lot of subtle tease to this episode. Overall, I thought it was an amazing episode. 9.5 out of 10. The only thing that holds it back is that this ship was just a whole bunch of setup. But it was a lot of important setup and a lot of important reintroductions into the series. And leaving us with a lot of questions, important questions, on a great number of things in Westeros with certain characters and whatnot. And we're setting up for some very massively important events. Also, last but not least, in Bravos mentioning on Slaver's Bay, it was clearly alluding to Yara, Theon, and the ships. And Yara said, we're trying to make a pact with this dragon queen, okay? So, House Greyjoy and House Targaryen? And if I remember correctly, House Greyjoy, against Stark, houses, and we still got Dorne in place, so it'll be very, very, very interesting to see how this goes down. Unexpected one to like, comment, subscribe, tell me your thoughts. And again, 9.5 out of 10, amazing chapter of this episode of Game of Thrones. And until next time, y'all, have a beautiful day, beautiful night, peace.